Welcome to News Today. The headline news. The loyalist troops thwarted Benin coup. The president affirmed. The news in full. On the attempted coup by some soldiers in Benin Republic, the president, Patrice Talon, had reassured citizens of the West African nation that the situation was now, quote, totally under control, end of quote. Quote again, I would like to condemn the sense of duty demonstrated by our army and its leaders who have remained loyal to the nation, end of quote, Talon said. Barely some hours after a group of soldiers declared a takeover early on Sunday morning on the national television and claiming that they were suspending the constitution. However, some government loyalists empowered them and thwarted the mutiny. As huge explosions were heard in Cotonou, Benin's largest city and seats of government. Later on, in the afternoon, it was alleged that has been the result of an airstrike that day. Report has it based on fighter tracking data that shows 3 aircraft entered Benin airspace from neighboring Nigeria before returning home. Prior to the explosion, the Nigeria's president's spokesperson confirmed its fighter jets went in to, quote, take over the airspace to help dislodge the coup plotters from the national TV and a military camp where they had regathered or regrouped, end of quote. Fears were heightened that the security of the region could worsen. A series of coups in West Africa were seen before Sunday's foil coup attempt in Benin Republic. Although Benin, as the former French colony, has been over the years regarded as one of the Africa's more stable democracies. But the occasions of Talon suppressing criticism of less policies had made the sympathizers' ears tingle, dumbfounded. Benin Republic, one of the countries in Africa, as a continent known largely as cotton producers, but statistically ranks among the world's poorest countries in the world. Nigeria described the coup attempt as, quote, direct assault on democracy, end of quote. Talon, a 67-year-old president of Benin Republic, said that loyalist forces had, quote, cleared the last pockets of resistance held by the mutineers, end of quote. Quote again, this commitment and mobilization enabled us to defeat these opportunists and avert disaster for our country. This treachery will not go unpunished, he added. That's end of quote. Quote again, I would like to reassure you that the situation is completely under control and therefore invite you to go about your businesses peacefully this evening. End of quote. The president said that in his address again. After the filing of this report, there have been casualties statistics, however. The number one citizen and the president expressed his candid condolence, quote, to the victims of this senseless adventure, as well as those still being held by fleeting mutineers. End of quote. Although there's sketchy information earlier on from government spokesperson Wilfred Ledia from Badinji that 14 people have been arrested in connection with the attempted coup so far. Reliable reports from a journalist claimed that among those reportedly arrested, 12 are believed to be those that stormed the offices of the national TV station, including a soldier that were already been previously sacked. Some journalists said to be working for the state broadcasters had been held hostage for a few hours as part caught up in crossfire. Howbeit, both Russia and French embassies urged their citizens to remain indoors. But the U.S. embassy's advice was to stay away from Cotonou, especially the area around the presidential compound, to avoid caught up in the already heated tension. Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri, the leader of the rebel soldiers, justified their actions as he criticized Talon's management of the country. Pascal complained and lamented first about his handling of, quote, continued deterioration of the security situation in northern Benin, end of quote. Before the soldiers struck, there was speculation that Benin's army suffered losses near the northern border, with the insurgency hit Niger and Burkina Faso in recent years, claiming that jihadist militants linked to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda spread southwards. The soldier said, the ignorance and neglect of the situation of our brothers in arms who have fallen at the front and, above all, that of their families, abandoned to their fate, to their sad fate by Mr. Patrice Talon's policies, end of quote. Part of the rebels' annoyance also pointed out at cuts in healthcare, which includes the cancellation of state-funded kidney dialysis and taxes rises, as well as curbs on political activities nationwide. With election scheduled for April next year, Talon, though regarded as a close ally of the West, is due to step down next year after completing his second term in office. Talon, a business known as, quote, King of Cotton, end of quote, first came to power in 2016. Report has it that he has endorsed Finance Minister Ronald Wadagni as his successor ahead of time. Talon government has been criticized for suppressing dissenting voices, even though his supporters have praised him for overseeing economic development. Talon's main opposition candidate was banned in October by Benin Electoral Commission from standing on the ground that he did not have enough sponsors in the country and across. The constitutional amendment were passed by MPs last month, including the creation of a second preliminary chamber, the Senate, where terms for elected officials were extended from 5 to 7 years, but the presidential two-term limit remained in place, which critics view as abnormal. After the government said the takeover had been foiled by government loyal soldiers, some soldiers were even seen patrolling some streets in the main city of Cotonou, the Benin capital. The African Union, AU, and ECOWAS have both condemned the coup attempt by the rebels. The region regional bloc has said in a statement that the contingent from ECOWAS standby forces is to be deployed to preserve the, quote, constitutional order and the territorial integrity of the Republic of Benin, end of quote. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the AU Commission Chair, retired, the Pan-Africa Organization, quote, zero tolerance stance towards any unconstitutional change of government, regardless of context or justification, end of quote. Sally Emmanuel, reporting from my channel.